So the next session is about the DGIT program within UNDP. The DGIT program is basically an integrated initiative at UNDP about identity-related. Initially, we started as an identity-related set of projects, but it's really becoming now a more integrated approach to e-governance projects. Within UNDP, what we noted, because we've been implementing many of these projects in a recurrent manner. Well, it doesn't look, we don't see all the details here, but it's really an integration I'll make it short, of the project management side with the procurement side, which is a very important component of e-governance, with all the policy side, which is also an essential component of these programs, as well as, of course, the technical solutions themselves. And we're going to talk shortly about these technical solutions. Point is, UNDP is probably the only organization in the world that knows how to get into a country that has very low registration rates of populations and establish a complete identity biometric registry in a matter of months, from 0 to 100% coverage. And that's because of this kind of integrated approach. I'll focus here. This session is really about the software tech stack that we want to discuss, because we have a partnership with OSIA on implementing some reference there. I'll come back to that. But just to give you an example of the capabilities that we have developed within UNDP on what we can deploy quickly in terms of software in this type of e-governance related project. We cover different areas of different identity registries. We are now, because this is so central in digital transformation of governments in general, we are expanding to other areas, including justice, health, or finance, for example, which is quite timely with the IDAS discussions. But it shows you how far what we have implemented across different countries and how far we intend to go. So I'd like to insist that this is not a software solution. This is a software tech stack. It's and I'm going to get into the details of this right now when I'm going to discuss this. SIA and UNDP have established a partnership recently. When we heard that SIA was establishing standards, we strongly believed that the UN and its agencies, UNDP in particular in this case, but not only, should have a voice in establishing these standards. We should be part of contributing our experience and expressing our needs in the setting of these open standards. I mentioned procurement and how important it was in our projects. And we usually focus on at least two areas, much more, it's much more complex than that. But two variables are important that we fundamentally consider when we procure. One is value for money, obviously. We want competitive offers. We're on the buy side. Two, we want no vendor lock-in and open standard, regardless of whether the providers that we go with, the vendors that we go with are open source or not. As long as we can switch vendors, that's what matters to us. And open standards is definitely fundamental for that. You can go for an open source solution and ended up, like one of the previous contributors have indicated, and then ended up locked in by an open source vendor. And you can go for a private vendor if they're adherent to open standards, then you can switch whenever you want to. And that we make sure that it's implemented within our procurement practices. When we establish this partnership with OSIA to work on the standards, part of the package was that the DGIT tech stack that we've seen would be used to implement reference for the OSIA standards, so that any vendor, whether, again, open source is not, doesn't really matter to us, any vendor can have a reference implementation and use it integrated within their own solutions and be ready to interoperate with other systems of the ecosystem. So the DGIT initiative, as in that sense, is going to open progressively the tech stack, make it a digital public good so that different vendors can adopt it. So it has many benefits, obviously, from UNDP perspective. It accelerates our procurements. It provides us with additional levels of protection against vendor locks for our partner governments. And it also avoids some of the locks for those who have been in the discussions yesterday at the CD Hub. It avoids also some of the pitfalls of having theoretical standards, but then once those standards are implemented, you find out that they're implemented differently, and they're the same the two implementations of the same standards can end up not being able to communicate with each other. So hopefully our contribution of the DGIT into the digital public good space as a reference implementation of OSIA will also contribute to mitigate that risk. It was just a quick word in a nutshell about the DGIT contribution, and that's it.